Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a new edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike and Dan with you. Dan, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Down the stretch they come as we prepare for the last few weeks or so of Major League Baseball.
And good morning, my
But
friend.
but the playoff race is just heating up. We may or may not have the old ops guy join us. That just depends on how he feels. So we're going to dive right in. This past Tuesday was the Major League Baseball trade deadline. We're not going through every deal. That's just going to take too long. But Dan, the Yankees, we talked about the Jazz Chisholm trade last week and the instant impact he had. They
Mhm.
also added Mark Leiter Jr. So your thoughts on what the New York Yankees did at the trade deadline?
They did enough to stay afloat. I think Brian Cashman should get credit for that. Um, Leiter Jr. so far has been okay. But I love what I see so far. But only okay. And Jazz, obviously, we talked about how much of an impact he's already had. I know, by the time when we were talking about it, he wasn't really playing yet. But just starting from that Sunday game against the Red Sox, where he manufactured a run on his own, gets on base, he steals two bases, and then sacrifice fly, and then he comes home. Just that alone is major for a team that could use some runs and win some games. So, good job with Brian Cashman for addressing those needs. I still think Brian Cashman didn't do the biggest thing, which was to address the closing situation. Because I'm being straight up with you, and I understand that Clay Holmes has God knows how many saves this year, and he's actually saved a lot of games. But man, he is a train wreck. You watch that Phillies game uh, on Tuesday night, man, it's just another example of why you can't trust him against good teams. Now the Yankees ultimately won the game, but you know, another blown save that you are scratching your head a little bit, and to me, just not enough uh for me to be confident, and that's why he needed to address uh that. I think he didn't address it enough. Uh, Adding Leiter to the bullpen may help a little bit, but I don't know, man. So that's where I'm at with the Yankees. They're winning games, so I can't complain too much.
I think that was a theme because you said they didn't do enough in the sense of the bullpen. Now, Jazz, you're right on Jazz Chisholm. He fits perfectly in. He gives them something they didn't have, which was great athleticism. He steals some bases. He's played a pretty good third base up to this point as well.
Yeah, and he's more committed to playing different positions if he has to than certain other people. I'm talking to you, Gleyber Torres. Uh,
He's a second baseman. He plays second.
Jesus Christ! Oh,
Oh,
you saw the idiot got benched the other night because he didn't hustle. So
I'm happy you brought it up because then yesterday he's back in the line. Aaron Boone, if you want to send a real message, he
uh,
doesn't play yesterday.
I'm sorry, man. See, and this is why I can't take Aaron Boone seriously too. Like, if you really want to win, and look, the Yankees won on Saturday, but if you really want to win and you want to send a message to your ball players who are struggling, who are not doing well, who are getting eviscerated by the fan base, bench him completely. Don't play him. He does not see playing time until he can show, and I don't want to hear, oh well, until someone sucks. No, he doesn't play because he has not done anything all season.
Yeah. And Gleyber Torres, the only person you are hurting, don't forget about the team because you're not hurting the team because, I mean, Aaron Judge just puts you on his back and, gives you piggyback rides around the clubhouse. You're hurting yourself because
Yeah,
I don't know if you realize this, Glaber. You're a free agent after the season.
yeah, no one's gonna pick him. No one.
And and no team at the moment is going to take you seriously with the comments you make and the lack of hustle you have. That's a problem. And it's been a problem. So while we can give Aaron Boone credit for what he did Friday night, at the same time, Dan, it's like, what the hell took so long?
What took so long, and why aren't you continuing the trend? You know what? We're just not going to play you. Piss him off a little bit. Maybe he'll get his act together. I don't know. Maybe.
Listen, I know DJ LeMayu's not having a good year, but you know what you're going to get from DJ LeMayu. He hustles.
Yeah, but DJ LeMay, I think he peaked. He peaked
Oh, I know.
early on his Yankee tenure. So it's like,
I don't remember if they'd sent down Oswaldo Cabrera or not. So that's why I use LeMayu as my
yeah.
example there.
As Waldo plays, but he still doesn't play as much as I would like him to, because of course they're going by which is best. I think Cabrera has a good bat. I think he should play more. But again,
But that was a theme. So you don't think the Yankees did enough? I don't think the team neck and neck with them in the division in the Baltimore Orioles did enough either.
and I was shocked by that. I was very shocked.
You know,
They made some good trades, but nothing that wowed me. Which
yeah, because the same faith you have in Clay Holmes is the faith I would have as an Orioles fan in Craig Kimbrell.
yeah,
And Craig Kimbrell hasn't had a good enough year. You had an opportunity to, and listen, if Tanner Scott wasn't your cup of tea because he was already there, fine. There were other relievers to go get. They
yeah.
really didn't do that. They attacked Trevor Rogers from the Marlins as a starter. Decent, nothing special. But I just, for me, the Orioles have this window with these young players,
Yeah.
and they just didn't take advantage of it. And the other part is this, and I don't think enough people mention it. We talk about the Yankees having one guaranteed year of Juan Soto. The Baltimore Orioles have one guaranteed year of Corbin Burns.
And and that's the thing, if Corbin Burns, who I think is going to stay in Baltimore, by the way, if he doesn't stay and you're just left with this young team, as good as they are, you've seen them throughout the season. They can be pretty frustrating going through a lot of these growing pains. Something that even I didn't even expect. But
And if you lose Burns, you don't have that guy at the top of the rotation.
yeah,
But we expect that to be Grayson Rodriguez. We don't know. We don't know. So I wish the Orioles had done more too, as the Yankees should have done more.
yeah.
Uh,
So nothing crazy out of both these teams.
which is kind of strange.
Yeah, I was surprised by Baltimore. No, just knowing that they have a division lead, they're trying to protect it, and not only that, they're trying to go far into the playoffs, which I know is their definite plans.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a little shocked, but again, they didn't have a horrible deadline. They just didn't do enough.
Enough. That was it. They just didn't do it. They did something. They just didn't do enough.
And the Yankees are right on their tails now.
Yeah, they're tied for the division lead.
So, I mean, you're talking about neck and neck. That's the definition of neck and neck right there.
I don't know if the two teams play each other. Let me look to see.
I mean, maybe I haven't looked at the. I forget the schedule.
I'm looking now. So, but I'll say this: the one team who did do a lot and it did do enough, the San Diego Padres, because they have taken the approach of the Los Angeles Rams with prospects and just said, nope, we want to win. They're the team that wound up getting Tanner Scott
Mhm.
for a bunch of prospects, and now that bullpen looks really good.
Yeah, the surging Padres will surge even more. At least that's the hope. And no, they did some really good stuff at the deadline, and they showed that they are truly they truly want to win. And it can be difficult in baseball to win stuff. So the fact that Padres are making that move to boost their boost their lineup, boost their pitching, boost everything, it's a solid trade deadline.
So just to backtrack, the Orioles and Yankees play one more series together
Yeah,
September
I
24th through
figured.
the 26th in the Bronx.
Yeah, that's gonna be a doozy if it's
That
a
might be for the
race.
division.
If it's gonna be a close race, there you go.
So, yes, it's the and I think the other thing about the Padres is this. The Padres have become, in my opinion, I think they are the biggest threat to the Dodgers and the Phillies
Right.
in the National League. They have a rotation that's eventually going to get Joe Musgrove back, and they hope to get Yu Darvish back.
Mhm.
Your guy Michael King has been really good,
Mhm.
and then Dylan Cease has been well really good as well. He's probably a Cy Young candidate. Offensively, their lineup is deep, but now they have this bullpen with Tanner Scott, Adrian Morahone, Robert Suarez, some other dudes that throw Jason Adam, who they got from Tampa Bay, who just throw 98 to 100 with ease.
Yeah, and put fear into the eyes of hitters,
Yeah.
and it gives you the confidence that if you need quick outs, that you're gonna get outs.
Yeah. So the Padres went in. The Dodgers went in too. They got Jack Flaherty from Detroit.
But by the way, what's with this nonsense with the Yankees? They're
The
concerned about
medicals.
his physical.
So, so Cashman said on WFAN, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. He said it wasn't the medicals; they just couldn't match up on a deal with
Yeah.
Detroit. Which
See,
I'm
this is
very
why you
curious
can't.
on what
See,
Detroit was at.
and this is what I was saying. You can't trust the reports. I didn't trust that nonsense about medicals. It's like, no, it's because of the trade offer. Because Brian Cashman probably didn't like the trade offer, so he punted like a coward. He punted.
Yeah, so those were the big things that occurred at the deadline. If I'm going to be biased for a minute, I'll say this: I actually like what David Stearns and the Mets did. They bought, but they bought fringely. They didn't have to give up top prospects for anything. And with what's come out the past couple of days on Justin Verlander, where they don't know in Houston, he's not going to reach that innings limit that would vest his option for next year. That's money off the books for the Mets.
Yeah, because
That's as big
yeah,
of a
because they're
trade
on the hook.
deadline win as you could get if you're the
They're
New
they're
York.
on a hook. I mean, it took them a year. but they're on the hook. They were on the hook for that. Now they're not.
Yeah.
And you know the fact that I mean, look, your bank that was pretty much a a move where you're hoping, obviously, worst case scenario is that Steve Cohen just loses his money. He's like, okay, whatever, I'll eat it up and everything. But if you gamble and it works out in your favor, and obviously you don't want Justin Verlander to get hurt, but now that Cohen doesn't have to pay all that money, boom.
It's
That's
it's a
money. That's
found
money that you can keep in
resource.
your pocket and potentially help your team out for another couple seasons here. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And listen, Max Scherzer, who knows what happens there? So that could be more found money for the Mets this week.
Exactly.
But Paul Blackburn was pretty good in his debut. Brazabon, the reliever for Miami, rough night last night. But listen, it's a bullpen arm. That's what you can't harp on the negativity when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Uh, I mean, just in general, I'm not worried about the Mets so much right now.
Oh no, that National League wild card race is
And that's what you're focusing on. You're not focusing.
popcorn worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the Mets right now. What are the White Sox doing? I mean,
All right, I'm gonna get on a soapbox.
what are they doing? Like, Jesus.
We've talked all year about the Chicago White Sox and how putrid they are, and there were rumors swirling around Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert. Roberts had a down year, but Garrett Crochet, to say you're not going to go to a contender, pitch in October unless you get a contract extension. Who in the blue hell are you? You're having one good year. And oh, I don't want to pitch. I could hurt my arm without a new contract. Well, whoop de freaking do. This team can't get out of its own way. The trades they did make, Eloy Jimenez is a salary cap casualty. He goes to Baltimore for basically nothing. Then they move Eric Fetty to St. Louis along with Tommy Pham in a 3-team deal, and they got nothing from the Los Angeles Dodgers in
So,
that deal. This team has no direction. This team stinks. And quite frankly, now that you've lost 19 consecutive games,
mhm.
throw in the towel. Just lose every game from here on out.
Well, I mean, that'll be absurd. They're not going to do that.
Oh, they're not. But there's okay with bad teams. At least most fan bases could say, okay, I could see the other side.
Yeah.
This team, you can't see the other side.
Well, the biggest problem is that you have losers in your locker room. And the White Sox, you mean tell me that you couldn't get rid of your losers in your locker room? Come on now. And look, again, it's a lost season anyway, so they're not. It's not like they're gonna win. Not like getting rid of people is gonna help them. They were selling, but you need to change the culture. You need to change culture now. It starts now. It doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start in February. It starts now. And you know, I I get that all their plans happen during the off season, but you need to get a head start because there's a lot of turmoil going on over there. It's getting bad. It's horrible.
Things are so bad. Ozzie Guillen on the White Sox post game show went off on those players who thought, oh, hey, they want to get traded. No, you prove you want to get traded.
Yeah.
You go to the ballpark and you still play hard. And the other thing is this: everything's becoming a distraction. What Garrett Crochet said, distraction. There were rumors swirling over the past week that they were going to fire the manager and bring in AJ Pierzynski, who had to deny the rumor on his own show. But just because he was in Chicago to do a broadcast, people started swirling that he was going to become the manager.
Uh, are we looking at the next Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey?
Dude, this is just, it's a crap fest. That's what it is in Chicago. I
It's
mean,
so bad, dude. Like, oh
oh,
my
it's
God.
brutal. It is so bad. I mean, but this also stems, and we'll move on after this. This stems on from what happened last year. They waited too long to get rid of Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams, but instead of doing a thorough GM search, they just promoted the assistant. Now, look, I don't blame this on Chris Getz. This is not Chris Getz's fault. This is on the fault of one person, Jerry Reinsdorf.
Mm-hmm.
You want this team to be crap? Well, look at that, Jerry. And here's the thing, Chicago, if you're listening, and I know that you are, you want to hurt Jerry Reinsdorf? Don't go to the games.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fill his pockets with money because the team doesn't deserve it. All right. The Chicago White Sox, a nuclear disaster. 19 straight losses where they've been outscored 118-41. Unreal. All right. The latest in the Shohei Ohtani stuff has come out, the gambling. The bookie for Ippei Mitsuhara, he's going to plead guilty to running in the illegal sports betting business. Matthew Boyer, 49, is expected to plead guilty on August 9th to federal charges of operating unlawful gambling business, money laundering, and subscribing to a false tax return, according to a plea agreement from the DA's office of California. Boyer will face a maximum sentence of 10 years of federal prison, up to on laundering, 5 years in federal prison for the gambling business, and up to 3 years in federal prison for the false tax return. So I kind of wonder, with all this cooperation, if we're going to get more on Shohei or not, but we'll have to wait.
I highly doubt it. If they're not saying anything, look, the bookie's not saying much.
He is
Obviously,
cooperating, though.
the translator's not saying anything. The interpreter,
No,
he didn't say anything.
He already said his piece.
The bookie, the bookie ain't saying anything.
Yeah.
Then it is what it is. I just don't believe it. I can't. I will die on this hill. I think Shohei Ohtani was involved. There's just no way. The amount of money that he lost, there's just no way. There's just no way he wasn't involved. So, but again, it is what it is. Good that he's gonna go to prison because he should. I mean, you don't run an illegal gambling business in a state where it's illegal. Yeah, but
we're America. We only care about the legal gambling stuff.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where every commercial's FanDuel and DraftKings. All right. Very minor on the Ohtani stuff. We're not law people. But we'll dive into one of Ohtani's former teammates with the Angels. Mike Trout out for the season after re-aggravating his knee injury during a rehab assignment. It's another lost season for a guy who
just retire.
Yeah,
retire.
You're on that hill. He should retire.
He's done. If he wants to continue playing, fine. he has nothing else to prove. I mean, look,
He just wants to win.
I mean, look, if you want to win a World Series, go ahead and win a World Series. I can't tell him to stop playing. But the thing is that he keeps getting hurt and he's never available now.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to continue to advocate for someone that is not going to have a full season. At the very least, not play a full season, let alone be out for 150 games a year or close to it.
I think his days playing in the outfield should be done. At minimum, become the DH.
I'll be okay with that.
But to your point, if you want to win, Anaheim's not the place because the Angels aren't close. And I know that's hard for people to hear because, listen, we love loyalty in sports. We love guys who will spend their entire career with one organization. There's 6 years left on that contract and a lot of money. I think they got to find, if you're the Angels and Trout, maybe you find a way to split up. Trout goes somewhere else. He becomes a DH and, gets an opportunity to win. Now, if he wants to remain an Angel, I mean, then you just don't want to win. But I think his days of playing in the outfield are done. He should be a primary designated hitter. Oh, all right. On to our series for the week. Let's start with the big one in LA. The Phillies, who have not played well since the All-Star break, go to LA. They're going to play the Dodgers, who also have been a little inconsistent. But we got some good pitching matchups. Monday night, we got Aaron Nola against Tyler Glasnow. Tuesday night, Christopher Sanchez against Clayton Kershaw. And then Wednesday, Gavin Stone for the Dodgers against Phillips of the Phillies, who's been pretty good as well. The Phillies swept the Dodgers in LA. The Phillies swept the Dodgers in Philly. The Dodgers are looking for some revenge here, Dan.
Looking for some revenge, and they caught the Phillies at the right time.
Yeah.
Because, man, 2-8 in their last 10 is brutal. Is brutal. And they got swept by the Yankees, which I'm very proud of, by the way. I couldn't believe it. I was jazzing up like crazy during that series. Pun intended. But man, the Phillies have struggled. They're not hitting well. They're not pitching well, which is the biggest stunner. And they're going against the Dodgers team that, is looking to win their games. They have to protect their division title. They're trying to at least make the playoffs. Dodgers are a good team. So they're going to try to find ways to win. And the Phillies, they need to get back on track, and you get back on track quick.
And this is a tough road trip for the Phillies.
Yeah.
3 in Seattle. They're looking to avoid the sweep today. 3 in LA. And then they end with 4 in Arizona. And by the way, the Phillies have played so poorly that now you could see the Braves and the Mets slowly but surely getting closer and closer. And the same thing could be said about the Dodgers with the Padres, who are now 4.5 back. This is going to be the Dodgers, for me, need this. But here's the caveat the Dodgers have. They don't have Mookie Betts at the moment.
Yeah.
We don't know when Freddie Freeman's coming back in what is a awful situation. We wish him and his family nothing but the best for that situation. And then they don't have some other guys. They don't have Muncy, The Phillies at the moment, that lineup is 1 through 9 healthy. And they're not producing at the rate they were earlier in the year. So if the Dodgers can pitch well, they've got a great shot. But they also have Otani. But this should be a fun series.
Very fun series. I love these pitching matchups. Uh,
Oh,
one
Monday night, Tyler
yeah,
Glasnow,
I'm gonna be
Aaron
locked into
Nola.
that one.
That's a huge one.
Be locked into that one. And excuse me. What a way if you're Aaron Nola to uh get back on track pitching against the Dodgers and in a pitcher's duel. But is a pitcher's duel what the Phillies need? I feel like they need more runs.
Well, they were up 5-0 last night and blew
I
that.
know
So
it's so
who
bad.
who knows what they need something there in Philly. I mean, I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Some other series this week. We got a makeup game Monday, the Mets and the Cardinals. That's just big on NL wild card. So
Yeah.
just wanted to bring that up. But we got the Diamondbacks going to Cleveland to play the Guardians, who
Best team in baseball.
best team in baseball. Another one that I wish did a little bit more at the trade deadline, but you know what? I'm not gonna crush.
Yeah. They could have bought.
Yeah, I mean they bring in Alex Cobb, who hasn't pitched all year. I would have liked that a little bit of a bigger name, and then on top of that, maybe another bet. But digress. The aforementioned Padres go to Pittsburgh to play the Pirates, who are still alive. That should be. That's a test for the Pirates. That's a real test.
I mean, this National League is tough. The Pirates, they 2 out of it was a 3-game series, right?
It'll
So
be a 3-gamer. Let me double check.
at least 2 of those games, and I think that's a major win for Pittsburgh. That keeps you alive.
Yeah, but by the way, they're playing Arizona today in a rubber game, so that is as well a massive game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Who, by the way, if you're a Pirate fan and on August 4th we're talking about big games for the Pittsburgh Pirates, that's a win within itself. Let's see, so Pirates Padres is 3 games. And then the Pirates go on a road trip to LA to play the Dodgers and San Diego to play the Padres. So
you say they're facing the Diamondbacks right now, right?
today they're facing the Diamondbacks.
You said they're in Arizona?
Nope, they're at home.
Oh, they're home. Okay.
They're at home for Arizona, then San Diego comes in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They go to LA this next weekend before going to San Diego. And then they play the Mariners when they come home, but we're not going to go deeper than that. Brewers go to Atlanta to play the Braves. The Braves are going to get Max Fried back tonight or this afternoon against the Marlins. Brewers hit a little bit of a rough patch, but they have so many darn injuries that it's hard to criticize. And the Braves are the Braves. They're taking advantage of playing the Marlins, although they didn't last night. Rays Cardinals is a big one. The Rays still alive in the AL wild card situation, despite selling at the deadline. So
why?
Why did they sell, or why are they still alive?
Why this again? What do American League fans deserve to have the Rays always be on their tails? Like, who cares?
Dude, no one operates like them, and they're so successful at how they operate.
Unbelievable. Every year.
Like this year, they were not supposed to compete because of all their pitching injuries. Well, they're right there in the thick.
Oh my God.
We got the Battle of Texas, the Astros and the Rangers. Listen, Texas, you want to get back into this thing, wake up a little bit. But it doesn't help you that Max Scherzer just went back on the injured list. But that's a huge one. And then the Red Sox and the Royals has wild card implications. Listen, we're coming down the stretch, Dan, and a lot of teams are still in it.
It's true though.
All right, before we kick out of here, do want to mention this. Congratulations to Blake Snell on his first career no hitter Friday night
God
in
bless him, yeah.
Cincinnati, of all places. So,
Must have felt good throwing that no hitter.
third no hitter of the season following Ronel Blanco of the Astros and Dylan Cease of the Padres. So, congratulations to Blake Snell. Not only were you not traded at the deadline, but you got to throw a no hitter. So, all right, that'll do it for this edition of Batter Up here on the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Dan, you want to give the socials?
At Insanity Real on Facebook and X. Please subscribe to our page below. Hit that subscribe button. And always hit that bell for any notifications when we go live or when anything is posted. We have a new Bombers Banter coming up soon, so please stay tuned for that. And then the website, thesportsanitynetwork.com.
Boom. All right. Everyone have a great Sunday. Try to keep a little bit cool.
Yep.
I'll talk to y'all